Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Impress. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Success. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Impress. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Success. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Impress. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Success. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Impress. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Success. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Impress. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Success. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Impress. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Success. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Impress. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress. Success. Take it off. Slow, steady, undress.
Take your motherfucking clothes off.
All right, everybody. Let's get it. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Gonna get started here in a second. Gonna check in with chat. And then we'll get into the outlook. I've got quite a few things that need to be covered today. A lot of updates from last week's stream. I'm really glad that everybody's enjoying the music. I'm not a one genre kind of guy. I like a lot of different music. I've tested different things here and there. I normally get pretty mixed feedback, but the stuff I've been playing recently seems to be liked by pretty much everybody, so I think we found our genre that we're gonna run with. I'll try to get around to making a playlist that I can share with everybody. Problem is that my YouTube and Spotify playlists that I listen to every day are all doxed, so I can't be sharing those. But shout out to all the regular viewers. I'm not gonna run through every individual name, but you know who you are if you watch this every week. I do see your name, and I definitely remember your names every week. So shout out to you guys. All the consistent viewers and positive feedback I get are what keep me going. A lot of negativity in our space, a lot of pessimism and stuff. Every now and then I'll get a really positive DM from one of you guys, and just know that I really do appreciate those. My ears are nutting. That's got to be the best comment yet. So we did the Pico top yesterday. Did we hold on to it for dear life? I'll cover all that stuff here pretty soon. Somebody wants me to look at the FTT chart. Yeah, we'll look at shitcoins later. Share your playlist, full name, address. Yeah, I got you. Been asking for the playlist for a year now. Yeah, honestly, guys, the playlist is the gigabait to make everybody watch my stream. Nobody's here to listen to me talk about Bitcoin and shitcoins. Everybody wants to get the music. Can you cover Link? I'll definitely be covering Link because I have an open short on Link, so don't worry. that will be a priority when I get to altcoins. All right, so for those of you that are new, I normally fuck around for a minute when we turn the stream on and just vibe with chat for a sec, respond to immediate questions and stuff. But the standard rundown is we'll spend a bit of time on Bitcoin here. I'll cover my Bitcoin plans. I'll cover my current trades that I have open, which I only have one open right now. Then we'll go to altcoins. I'll cover altcoin plans, cover altcoin trades. You guys can request tickers, and we normally just kind of go from there after that. A lot of times I get questions from the chat that are good to lead into different directions and what have you. So yeah, I think it's probably about time we get started. Let me catch up with chat one more time. I'm going to be cringe right now. Everybody press that like button for me. It really helps out with the YouTube algo. The past 2 streams that we've done, the first 2 YouTube streams, we've had a lot of likes coming in, and that stuff's really helping out a lot. So do me a favor and press like. New from your channel, learned about you from XO. Shout out XO. XO is Chad Trader. I really enjoy my DMs that I have with him pretty regularly. Are you predominantly a scalper or a swing trader? I'm a jack of all trades, my friend. I do both simultaneously. I've been doing this for a long time now. I'm on my 8th year. How are you doing? I'm doing swell, Hologram. Thanks for asking. Oh yeah, Hologram, you're correct. Yeah, I need to ask you guys to smash that like button. No shit, I said that and instantly the like doubled. Yeah, smash that like button, boys and girls. Thank you. Please market sell 200 million Bitcoin. Yeah, somebody do that for me because I'm already short. So if somebody wants to sell 200 million Bitcoin, I'm down for that. Hey, Magus, really interested in the Paragon group? That's good to hear, brother. Just because the chat brought it up, I'll do a quick shill. I don't normally do this, but yeah, if you like what you are hearing from the stream and stuff, definitely check out the Paragon group, because if you think I do decent education for the public, the quality that I put out in the group is 10 times better. I have over 3,000 hours of videos now in the group. I put out at least like 2 or 3 videos a week. So definitely worth taking a look at. Okay, guys. Unlike just to like again. What a giga chat. Alright, guys. I'm going to ignore chat because it is distracting for me, and I normally... it slows down the Outlook process, so I'm going to ignore chat for a few here and do a Bitcoin rundown, and then we'll reassess chat and then get into shitcoins. So thanks everybody for tuning in. One last time, press that like button for me if you haven't already. Okay, now let's get it. So I'm going to start off with the higher time frame, and then we'll move from there. So a lot of this is going to be review this week. We're going to be, covering what we covered last week, and honestly what we've been covering for the last few weeks. And just kind of updating where we're at. So in short, yesterday was the day, everybody. Well, realistically, actually Sunday night. It depends on your time zone, but basically right before the weekly open, we popped up into my primary swing short territory that I've been waiting for weeks now, and pretty thankful that I got that opportunity. I shorted. I'm actually running a pretty weird strategy right now where I'm short Bitcoin, I'm short Link, I'm short INJ, and I'm long on Ant still, and I'm long on BLZ. So I'll be covering all that stuff in detail when we get to it, but I've got a weird little portfolio of positions right now that I'm running. But yeah, I see you guys coming in with the questions in chat. I am going to ignore you guys for a minute so I can get through my outlook properly. So if we run top to bottom, right, like we've talked about, the momentum is being lost in the trend. The trend all year long has been up, so I always am a trend respecter. Bull market, bear market, I don't care. I'm a trend follower with higher time frame stuff. So that's been the name of the game. But I do think that the trend is in deep trouble recently. So the lesson for the newer guys that we've been covering for months now has been that if you look at, from the start of the year, if you look at the strength of the impulses in the trend, the first impulse was massive. The second impulse was massive. This third impulse, which arguably had some of the most bullish news behind it, was one of the weaker impulses that we've seen in the whole trend. Or it actually, that was poor wording. It was the weakest impulse. So that's generally something that I look at. It's a good way to view momentum, right? The momentum has been dying and the rounding off effect and the trend is beginning. So on the highest time frame, that's how you want to look at things in my opinion. You still want to respect the fact that the yearly VWAP has been up all year. That's this green line right here. So it is still in a bull trend, but I do think that the trend is dying. So I have shifted over the past couple months to being more conservative again and being risk off with my portfolio. So I do own a pretty decent amount of Bitcoin, but it's all hedged out, and I have really zero interest in being swing long on Bitcoin until I get invalidated. So I'm going to cover the plans here. We'll cover invalidation and everything, and then we'll dive down into the medium time frames. So basically, what we were working with was, right, we had this value built up, and the expectation was that we would trend up eventually. This news-driven event really isn't a good example just because it immediately Burj Khalifa'd, but we finally got our drift up in value. We trade up into our major resistance area. So 28 and 29K were the major regions to be paying attention to. I did go ahead and take the swing short on Bitcoin on Sunday night. Actually, I took the short on Sunday night and then actually had to close it out and reposition on Monday. Cover that when we get to the medium time frames, but yeah, I mean, essentially we're just expecting this to be a dead cat bounce and continue the rounding off effect, and essentially do the, what we've done over here, just do the opposite trend structuring is what I would expect moving forward. So our major area that we need to contest to the downside is going to be 25K. This is definitely the macro support right now. Let's clean up the chart really quickly. 25K is a really significant support. It's last year's VWAP, current year's VWAP, this major low volume node. It is the last year's macro composite high. So 25K is an incredibly strong level, and it's been serving as strong support, but I do think it's a matter of time before it gets broken. There's obviously no certainties in life or in trading, so there's no guarantee that it's going to. So even if this swing short fails, I think that it's still going to work out for me as a medium-ish time frame trade. I'll be covering the lower time frame levels here in a moment, but the only really high time frame support to worry about right now is 25K. If 25K does get lost, hold on, let's repopulate this volume profile really quickly. There you go. The main areas to pay attention to if this 25K area does get lost are going to be first into the mid 23K region and then in the 19K region. So something to be aware of is that basically everybody, whether you're any style of trader, everybody's going to be looking at these same levels. So it's important to understand that when levels are really obvious, that how things normally play out is you either front run or blast through them. For the guys that have been watching this stream a lot recently, you've heard that lesson over and over again, and it's a really important one to sear into your brain. Whenever a level is super obvious, it's going to normally have some sort of fuckery, where it's either going to do something like either front run, right? If this is your obvious level, you either come in and you don't make it all the way to the level and you turn around before, or you go right through the level. That's generally how these kind of things are going to go, just because the market doesn't want to make things easy on you, all right? And it needs to make you sweat. So that covers the macro support 25K, the downside levels of 23 and 19K. The next kind of thing that we need to cover for higher time frame is invalidation. So I have my lower time frame invalidation stuff that we'll go over later, but the higher time frame invalidation that we need to pay attention to is going to be 29K. So if price gets back above 29K and we see either A, sideways price action, or B, a yeet through, these are going to be the two things that are going to be invalidation for me, right? So from a level standpoint, it's over 29K. I generally don't rely purely off of levels because it's not really my style. So I will be paying attention to flows, and occasionally just like we did at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, we'll cover this in the same way. Last year, I was bearish all year long. I was bearish all the way from, I hate to even say it like this just because everybody says this, but I was legitimately bearish from November 2021 until the bear market kind of, or the bear trend kind of died out. So it is important to have your idea of invalidation, but not be afraid to front run that. So last year, we were bearish and our invalidation was like 19 to 20K-ish. And going into the start of the year, I ended up just changing my bias based off of how aggressive the flows were at the beginning of the year, and went ahead and flipped long and went into the bullish mindset before I was actually invalidated. And this is a good example when we look at this, that if you wait for simple level retest, so if you're trading down here and your level for invalidations here, and you wait and you think you're just going to get this perfect retest, or vice versa to the downside, if you think that you're trading up and your invalidations here and you think you're going to get this perfect retest to be a bear, that's not how things work, guys. Look at how this played out. 19 to 20K was the obvious level that everybody knew to pay attention to, and we just went right through it. And we did obviously retest it, but you would have had to wait 3 months for that retest. So it's really important lesson, guys, that you can have your fixed levels for invalidation and your bias and your plans and everything like that, but it can be pretty smart to have an idea of how what you want to see for invalidation before levels. So generally that's going to be paying attention to the relationship between spot and perpetual flows. I don't really care about futures too much just because they're pretty irrelevant with futures flows don't really matter, guys. It's really just spot perps. Hopefully that'll make sense. Let's run through a quick TLDR. The invalidation is up here. If we get back above 29K, that's going to be invalidation. I'm not afraid to front run that if I see bullish flows. We're looking for 25K as the next major downside. I actually have about 20 in the 26s is really the first major FTA for downside to pay attention to. 25K is the macro support. If 25K does fail, which I do think it will, we're looking for the mid 23K region. This is probably where I would take profit on my swing short. If things went perfectly for me in a perfect world where I'm Nostradamus and I get to predict things, taking profit into the mid 23s or potentially like lower 24s is probably where I'm gonna try to take profit on that, even though I do think we'll eventually trade down. The markets never go up, right? They never go up in a straight line or down in a straight line, right? It's always chop along the way. So it's, excuse me, I need to get water really quickly. Sorry, I stayed up pretty late. Things never go up and down in a straight line. So it's really important that you understand the fact that even if, even if I'm right and this is going to result in some bearish trend continuation, it's going to have its upswings, right? It's going to have its dead cat bounces, which is essentially what I think we're working with right now. So last thing to cover is that, I want to add to the bit around the invalidation. Just because I've had this plan for months and it looks like it's working out doesn't mean I'm going to get locked in this bias. Something that I learned the hard way during the bull market, or this most recent bull market, was that it's important that you have your plans. It's important that you have your conviction in your plans, but you can't get locked up in the plan and just cling to it for dear life. You have to be flexible in how you trade and stuff. So what I'm getting at is there's a very real situation where this is not a dead cat bounce. There's a very real situation where I'm wrong, and then I'm going to have to pivot to being bullish. And if we are bullish, right, we're going to be targeting up towards 35K next. So we'll probably realistically front run that, and maybe it's more realistically like 34 or 33. It doesn't matter, right? The key takeaway from what I'm trying to say right now is that don't get overly caught up in your ego about being right and wrong. I truly don't care about the idea if I'm right or wrong. I really only care about participating in the trend, right? Being on the right side of the trend and not getting run over. So that's pretty much it for the higher time frame plans. Hopefully that all makes sense, guys. I will check chat, and if there's any questions around the higher time frame plans, I'm happy to cover it again or answer any questions. Otherwise, we'll probably move into lower time frame here first. But I'm gonna catch up with chat, and then we'll go into lower time frame. We'll go ahead and put the lower time frame chart up. And when I say lower time frame, I mean medium realistically. Remember asking you about using the DOM to trade Bitcoin, but you said there's no good DOM. What about the ExoDOM? ExoDOM's fine. I actually use the in silico terminal DOM, so I probably would recommend that. The thing is, guys, that DOM trading in crypto isn't really that much of a thing unless you're actually a scalper. I don't use the DOM when I'm trading for the purpose of analysis. I use the DOM when I'm trading just for order execution. So when I'm scalping, I use a depth of market ladder in order to get my orders in the book. In order to get my resting limits in the book. And then I will also use the chase. That's how I scalp, guys. I use only limits when I scalp. I use a combination of chase orders and resting orders. And the resting orders I click in with the DOM. And then I have keybinds for chase. But to be clear, what I'm originally trying to say with that is that using depth of market stuff isn't really that applicable with crypto, because our markets are super illiquid and they don't run smoothly enough to where a DOM is really going to be that useful most of the time. If you try to read the DOM a lot of the time, you're just going to get lost in the sauce, honestly. If you're really experienced with them, then you'll be fine. If you're using it for the purpose of scalping, you'll be fine. But anything beyond scalping, and you're just gonna get blinded by the light, lost in the sizzles. VWAPs on BLZ have been a blueprint cooked now. We'll cover that in a bit, because I do have a long on BLZ. It's a weird question. What's the biggest position size you've ever YOLO'd into a position? Was it planned? How did you manage the emotions, total time, in the open position? Thanks, mate. I'm not interested in being too overly specific. My trade size that I run these days is much, much smaller than it was in the peak bull market. Near the later stages of the bull market, I was multi-managing a lot of positions. So, going into October and November of 2021, I had something like 14 or 15 different spot positions. Bitcoin, ETH, and then a bunch of altcoins. And I did hedge out my whole portfolio at 68K on futures. Spot was trading about 66K, and I hedged out at 68K. And this is not something that we're just talking about now in hindsight. I wrote full threads on Twitter and did this in real time for everybody. That position, that was my biggest position ever, that hedge, where I shorted Bitcoin on futures. It was definitely over 7 figures. It was a pretty hefty position. It's by far the biggest trade I've ever had, but it was a hedge. It was a hedge that turned into a swing short. So a little bit of history lesson. For those of you guys that have followed me for a long time, you guys have probably heard this before, but like I said, I had a lot of spot positions and I had to hedge all of them out because I was pretty uncertain about things in the early weeks of November 2021, and I hedged everything out, and then I ended up just selling out all my spot positions off. So my lowest Bitcoin sell was 59K. Most of my Bitcoin sells were like 63K, and yeah, I did exactly what everybody aims to do. Somehow I got lucky enough where I actually sold the top, which was a pretty incredible experience. Very fortunate and grateful that I was able to keep the money that I made last cycle. And if you're real curious, or if you think I'm lying or something, just go to Twitter advanced search and look up my November trades. Twitter has everything archived and you can see it. I wrote full up threads where I was updating the thread every couple of days on Twitter back then. I don't do that kind of stuff on Twitter anymore because it's not really rewarding. Thanks LP for the question that let me boast for 5 minutes. Look at the last quarterly VWAP overlapping with the volume node 2. So you're saying that we're going to blast through? That was something I was mentally prepared for, that I could have been wrong and we could have just blasted through this. But I waited for the lower time frame setup to form so that I could actually put the risk on. I didn't just randomly sell as soon as we got into the quarterly. What flows do you look at? Just spot and perps, right? Like I did already answer that. I don't care about futures flows. They don't really amount to anything these days. When we're in a bull market, I will pay much more attention to the quarterly futures, but in a, you know, chop stage, late bear market, chop stage, whatever you want to call this, it's just, yeah, a relationship between spot and perps. Another, what do you look at for flows? I look at open interest, but open interest is only lower time frame stuff for me. Anybody that you see, guys, anybody you see doing higher time frame open interest analysis, go ahead and mute them, honestly. That's just engagement bait. I've been using open interest for a long time now. I've been using open interest since before it was even available to the public. And I don't see any use case for higher time frame, guys. Intraday and scalp are the only use cases for OI, in my opinion. Obviously, there's no certainty. Maybe somebody's smarter than me and came up with a higher time frame use case for it, but I don't believe in that stuff. A lot of questions coming in. I'm going to try to get through all these before I go into the next section. Shout out XO for retweeting my stream and bringing a bunch of extra viewers in. If you just joined in, do me a favor and press that like button for me. It really helps out a lot. I'm holding a swing short on the NASDAQ from 1530 and expecting to head to about 12-ish. Do I just hold and hedge in between, or do I close it when it's at support and play the long? I mean, it's hard for me to tell you exactly what to do. What I would do is I would probably be closing it out. You know, with downside stuff, I'm much more inclined to just close it out and look to reopen it. When we're in a bull market, I'm much more inclined to try to hedge out my long exposure, but there's a big difference between having a short open and you want to close it out when you get to support versus I have a bunch of spot that I don't want to sell, right? I mean, my spot buys that I was hedging out, you know, I had Bitcoin spot buys from $3,000. I had ETH spot buys from $200 to $400. I don't want to be selling my $200 ETH buys and, you know, at 4K and then buying them back at 3,500 or something like that, for example. So it's much better to just use that spot as collateral for a hedge. But with shorting, I would probably say just take profit. But, you know, you got to do you, honestly. While scalping, how do you get perfect position sizing and execute orders fast? There's no such thing as perfect, right? So go ahead and remove that word from your vocabulary with trading. None of my scalping, even when I go on insane win streaks, which is something I did recently, I went on a crazy win streak where I literally didn't lose on a scalp for like 16 days straight. None of it was perfect, right? I had a couple really clean trades here and there, but a lot of my trades have mistakes still. There's no such thing as perfect, especially with lower time frame stuff. So immediately remove the word perfect from your vocabulary. You know, position sizing with scalping and stuff is also pretty discretionary. The stuff I've been teaching in the group recently is that you gotta have big balls if you want to scalp these high volatility shitcoins. When one of the things that helps you is you cannot be trading with big size. The kind of size I would trade with Bitcoin, you know, I'm trading with a tenth of that size on these altcoins. And that helps me to have that ice in my veins so that when I make mistakes that I don't freak out and lose my shit. But executing fast, I use resting orders and chase orders, homie. I agree partly on the DOM thing you said. I saw the top of the DOM, by the way. It moved quickly and shorted ASAP. Most of the time it can be misleading or too detailed. The reason why it's misleading or seems too detailed is because crypto markets aren't liquid enough, so the DOM moves around too much. It's very common, right? Like spoofing and stuff is illegal in legacy markets. There's no rules against it in crypto, so you have to be prepared for a lot of games to be played on the DOM. And if you're not prepared for that stuff, it's going to make you make bad decisions, right? Just seeing like a large resting bid on the book doesn't mean you should be long, right? You need to have an idea of what that could actually mean. Can't wait for your take on BLZ. Yeah, I'll get to it eventually. I just got to get through the chat questions. We got a lot of questions coming in. Thanks, hologram. I hate to even read that. There's a way to know. If there's a way to know if Magus is a real one, try to count how many times he said that he's grateful in the past weeks on the cartel coins. Grateful for shorting the top. I'm always grateful, guys. I heard on it was some sort of podcast or stream or something recently. Some guy was talking about how he's lucky. You're lucky. I'm so lucky. Blah blah blah. And the guy was like, "Bro, shut up. You're not lucky. You work hard. You're grateful." So I've tried to reprogram myself to stop calling myself lucky all the time and to talk about how I'm grateful for the opportunity. How do you feel about rolling VWAPs? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my style. I just use time-based VWAPs and anchored VWAPs personally. Thoughts on the DYDX or DYDX? I said like the shitcoin. The Dixie. I don't chart the dollar. It's not my style. For dollar index, you're gonna want to pay attention to people like SCXO and Charlie. It's not my style. You like using net positions as replacement for OI? No, I don't use net positioning. I could potentially talk about OI later. Sent by XO, liked and subbed. Shout out XO. If you could meet anybody of importance, who would it like to be? That's a really tough one. I'd probably like to meet some sports legends, to be honest. But also what comes to mind is I have a bunch of trader friends that I'm always trying to meet up with and have failed to do so, like Jim and Charlie. I'm always trying to make plans with them, and then our plans always fall through. So I'd like to meet up with some of my trader friends for sure. Doing alts later, have a take on Sol. Yeah, I'll cover Sol later. It's at the top. It's one of the primaries on my list. More of a general question. I tend to do better when shorting, calmer in managing positions, clearer view. Is there advice on longing the market? It's odd since it's the same, just the other direction. That's not that uncommon. Sometimes, some people are just better at longing. Some people are just better at shorting. I really try my best to not be good at one or the other and to have one of the lessons I always try to teach is around being balanced with everything. Balance with everything in life, I think, is a really powerful, it's a really important mindset, to not be literally anything that you do in life, whether it's something like work related or trading or with your personal relationships or anything you can think of. I think that balance is pretty much always the answer. So if you're struggling with longing, I would tell you to just try to turn your brain off, honestly. I think that with longing, intentionally being 70 IQ definitely helps me a lot. But yeah. Some people are just better at longing or shorting. It's okay. Maybe you need to just come to terms and accept that. If you want to get better at the one that you're lacking in, you just need to, just try to turn your brain off. Might sound cliche too, but you can go to your chart and click invert the scale, and now you're shorting right when you're longing. That might help you. I don't know. Oh, the fuck. Or paper trading by accident. Can you check out BCH? Yeah, I'll definitely cover BCH. Hey, Big Mag, you just came in and you're already leaking some big alpha. That's what we do here. We leak alpha. Shout out to all the new viewers, guys. I promise you, if you hang out and give me a little bit of time to make it through some rambles, you'll learn something. Tell the pizza guy delivery story. It's a perfect trade analogy. Born wants the pizza guy story. This is one of my... I love this story, but I say it so much that I feel like people are maybe tired of it. But there's a lot of new guys in here, so maybe not everybody's heard it. So the pizza guy story, guys. So in January of this year, I was going crazy longing altcoins. It was just, you know, after Bitcoin really popped. So if we go to the Bitcoin chart really quickly just so we can follow along. After Bitcoin had done this first initial pop at the beginning of the year in January, and it started to go sideways, altcoins were all playing catch up and chasing. And I was chasing altcoins and having time of my life, honestly. I had some pretty ridiculous performance back in January. And the pizza guy story that Born wants me to go over is I was long on Gala. I had some sort of play where I was playing like a monthly VWAP reclaim for a breakout long, and it worked out super, you know, I'm super lucky. It worked out perfectly where this thing just like popped off and went 25% up in like only a few hours. I think it was like a 10-hour trade, and it turns out that it was all fundamental base. They were doing a burn where they were burning their tokens and stuff. I had no fucking idea what they were doing. That I was just trading my system, which is important. You know, just follow your system. That's a good lesson in and of itself. But what we're getting at is that I'm in this ridiculous trade. It's starting to get late for me. It's, you know, it's definitely dinner time. I ordered a pizza. I have a pizza coming, and the pizza guy shows up, and I go to get my pizza. I come back to my screen, and I'm just like, fuck this trade. I'm done with this. And we started to get a little bit of a buying wave coming in, so I just went ahead and dragged all my asks down into one tick. So I put all my take profits at one tick, and all the buying came in and hit into me. And long story short, I made the Pico top for Gala for the entire year because my pizza came and I didn't want to monitor my trade anymore. I wanted to go eat my pizza. So the reason why that's such a good lesson is that, you know, levels and a lot of things that you get taught can be memes, because at the end of the day, when somebody that's big in the book, which Gala is not a particularly large coin, so it's pretty easy for me to be one of the big guys in the book. I just decided I'm done with this thing. I'm going to make a massive sell wall, and some goofballs came and aped into me and filled all my asks, and I took all my profit. And right, I mean, that created the top for the entire cycle for Gala this year. Gala hasn't made any fresh highs since then. I didn't make the Pico top. I think it went like 2 or 3 cents past me, but I mean, that's basically nothing, right? You're talking about like it went like 0.05% past my take profit, so I basically made the top on it. And it's just a good lesson, guys, because you can't get caught up too much in your levels and things like this. You need to understand that sometimes some chat in the book just says, fuck this, it's over. All right, we're done with that story. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. What's your favorite tool or indicator for consensus when entering trades? VWAP, my friend. I'm a VWAP nerd. Questions about TRB. I'll cover TRB later. I'm finally getting to the bottom of the chat. Wow. Inverting chart helps so much, for sure. LOL. Okay, thanks. I'm more left curve in future when longing. Yeah, you got to be left curve, guys. Maybe not in the state, like we're in the chop stage where you want to be a little bit more smart. But when we eventually go into the next bull market, whether it's in 3 months, 3 years, or 3 decades, whoever, you know, we don't know when it's going to come. Whenever the next big bull market comes in crypto, you got to be stupid. Turn that brain off. Turn the brain off. I made most of my money in my life from just being stupid. You got to be stupid to make it and smart to keep it. Very important that you understand that. Invert colors, yeah. I don't really like inverting the colors, but that can be a good way. If you're good at longing and not good at shorting, or vice versa, you can invert the colors. That can help you as well, but it's not really my style to do that. Inverting the chart is actually something I do quite often, for sure. Yeah, a lot of people do that. Is 4 to 5% realistic target per month? I hate answering questions like this. Yeah, it obviously is, but you shouldn't have set goals for each month. Some months I do ridiculous numbers where I do infinitely more than 4 or 5%, and then I might have a month where I lose, right? Or where I'm break even, right? So also, like, my performance isn't something that you guys should be aiming for. I've been doing this for 8 years, and I've been doing, right, like, where this is my life. Like, trading is the main thing that I have going on in my life. So if you try to keep up with me, it's probably not going to go too well for you, honestly. Oh, so you're the reason why I'm living in a box at McDonald's Wi-Fi on my BlackBerry, huh? Sorry, my friend. Yeah, if you bought into me up there, the VWAP enjoyer, indeed. Okay, guys, I finally caught up with chat. Shout out to all the new guys. I mean, we're just getting spammed with comments today, so thanks everybody for that. Let's go ahead and let's get into the medium time frame plans, and I'm going to cover basically why I shorted Bitcoin on the lower time frame. So these were my plans this week. My core plan was, was point number 1. So what I was looking for was, we had this move right before the weekly open. We had this big blast off, and my plan was that we would, we'll draw it over here. My plan was if we move up, that we're going to, build some sort of range, trade up into resistance, and then I could short this, and that we'd hopefully would break the range and then go down from there. So that was this plan, and this is basically exactly what happened. So I am short from 28.4 and change. We are currently trading into the first FTA, so the first downside FTA is 27.2. So I am prepared for the fact that this might be an area where my short, starts to get invalidated, and I might have to potentially either take profit or potentially go long. This could be an area where we start to round out and go back up again. Important to acknowledge that. The next kind of area that I'm looking for is down towards 26.2. So we're looking at 27.2, 26.2 are the main areas for downside. If I think that we're actually going to get the downside continuation and break the, like we said before, right, 25K, very, very important level. If I think we're going to break that, then I'm looking to take profit on the swing short into the 24s and potentially like mid 22s, right? This is kind of the key area to be paying attention to. So there isn't really too much to cover. I can just cover my plans, right? So these are all my plans I made on Sunday night. It's really important to make plans, not because you want to sit there and predict, but it's just good that you have an idea of, if this happens, this is roughly what I want to do, right? Predicting is for assholes, but having plans will help you make better decisions when the market does its thing. So I was prepared. Here, we'll go over number 2. I was prepared for the idea that we could start to accept outside of this sideways, and we didn't even really build the range, to be clear, so I was kind of wrong about that. I guess, like, if you go to lower time frame, right, we kind of built the range. So I was prepared for the idea that we would accept up, and that my next short target would be 28.8, and then, right, like we had talked about, 29K was my invalidation. So this is something to be prepared for, that if I saw acceptance over 28.8 and 29, that I would need to pivot to being bullish to target up into the 30s. So these are my plans going into the beginning of the week. If you didn't, right, I put these plans out every night. Actually, yeah, I do. I put them out Sunday night in the group, and then I put out a censored version on Monday morning on YouTube for the public. But again, it's definitely censored. You're getting about 40% of the info on YouTube. So yeah, these are the plans. This is probably pretty straightforward. So there isn't really too much to cover here. If there's any questions on this, let me know. Otherwise, we'll probably go ahead and move on here. And I'm already an hour into the stream. That's crazy. Fuck with Magus gets smoked. What are your VWAP settings? They're all standard, man. They're all time based. So I'm using a yearly, I'm using a quarterly, I'm using a monthly, I'm using weekly, I use daily. There's nothing special about them. And I use one standard deviation from the VWAP for bands. Nothing crazy. After how many years was it that you went full time? What was the budget size? Yeah, I'm not gonna say specific numbers, but I went full time after trading for about 3 years. 4 years, something like that. I don't know. I can't do the math in my head. I went full time. Pretty crazy story. I went full time at the beginning of 2020. It's when I quit my corporate job that I hated. I went full time at the beginning of 2020. In February, I quit. Let's go take a look at what happened right after I quit. I quit in February. The worst like sell-off or black swan event in modern crypto history happened a month after I quit my job, which I got obliterated on this, and it absolutely shook me and made me think like, wow, you must be stupid. You just quit your job for this? So I'll always remember this. Definitely was a pivotal moment in my life where I had to really assess if I was making a decision or making a smart decision or not. And obviously, in hindsight, very fortunate things worked out. But you're kind of asking about how did I transition to full time? I got super lucky on a lot of altcoin swing trades, honestly. I made a lot of money from ETH. I made a lot of money from Chainlink. Chainlink was probably one of the main things that helped me be able to go full time. I bought a lot of Chainlink when it was worth nothing and sold it when it was worth a good amount. So people like to bully Chainlink. I'm actually short Chainlink right now. I hate Chainlink nowadays. I would never want to be long it for any reason, but I'll always have a special place in my heart for Chainlink because it set me up to go full time. Wifey trading and gym is all that matters. Yeah, I kind of respect that. What's your favorite time frame? I don't have a favorite time frame. I don't really believe in that. I use the 12-hour for higher time frame analysis a lot of the time. I use the hourly for medium time frame, and then I use like 1 minute. But time frames are memes. Wasn't it safer to wait for it to get under the quarterly VWAP to short it? I mean, I was just following my plan. Do you look at treasury market at all? No, I don't pay attention to any of that kind of stuff. Okay, guys. So I'll show this chart really quickly because I was getting asked about open interest, but all my open interest trading, this is what my open interest chart looks like. I generally just run it on a 1 minute like this, looking for positional changes to make decisions. If you do this on Bitcoin, you're going to get lost in the sauce a lot of the time. But it's very useful for altcoins. So let's go ahead and move over to altcoins, guys. It's time to run through some shitters. Do you think GCR is Sam? Definitely not. So a lot of these setups that we're going to be covering today are things that I covered last week on the stream. So you guys could have taken these trades with me because I told you about them before the setups really formed. So let's look at WorldCoin really quickly. I still think WorldCoin is probably going to trade up here eventually. I think it's probably going to pull back into these anchored VWAPs and then do trend continuation. For this scalp list, guys, I will cover TRB because I know you guys want me to, but these are all scalp coins. I don't really like to swing them all that much, even though I'm unironically swing long on BLZ right now. With these coins, I'm mostly running scalp trades on them, but I think that WorldCoin still will probably see some trend continuation. Let's look at BLZ really quickly. This thing hasn't really materialized as a trade too much, but this is one I did cover last week on the stream, so I'm basically I'm a tiny bit underwater on this trade right now. Just going to be patiently waiting on this one to either invalidate or play out. Let's do TRB. So apparently I didn't clean up my chart fully. What we had talked about in most of my more recent outlooks and last week on stream, TRB was, super thankful for TRB. This thing printed. Primarily as a scalp coin. I put in many hundreds of trades on TRB in September, and super thankful for the opportunity that this thing gave me. Definitely saw our blow off top recently. Where I'm at with this one is more or less expecting that we're going to continue to trade down into the 40s, and it'll probably do something somewhat similar to this where it'll chop it up and then probably see trend continuation back up. I don't think that it's going to die anytime soon. I think that, if we look at the spread, there's basically no spread between the spot and the perps right now. They're like the same price. But if I had to guess, once this thing is done trending down into this region, that it will probably have some sideways price action. The spot premium will probably return, where spot starts trading far ahead of the perps, and that'll be a clear signal for me to want to chase long scalps on this one again. So that's pretty much it for TRB. I do think it will trade down, and then I think it will eventually trade up. You speak of risk management. It's a really heavy topic, right? So I'll do a quick TLDR on risk management. I have a YouTube video that covers this, so it's probably like a year old now, but you should probably go ahead and Jail Crypto, go ahead and look at my YouTube channel and find my video where I talk about execution strategies. But essentially the idea is that if you're, let's do a short example. Let's say your coin's trading up and you think it's rounding off and you see a spike and you want to short the spike, and then this is what price does. It goes sideways from here. I don't believe in running, that's a long. I don't believe in running in hard stops all that much. So how most of my trading goes is I'll have hard invalidations that are really far away from price, and then I will manually stop myself out. I'll close it out manually. So most of my trades are when I'm wrong and I lose, I manually close them out. Whether anything from a swing trade to an intraday trade to a scalp, I do the same thing where I manually close out my trades. I don't believe in letting myself get hard stopped when I can use my discretion to close it out. So, I don't know where you're at in your own character arc, JO. So it is important that I say that you need to understand basic, risk to reward. You got to make sure that your reward is always bigger than your risk. But I'm very far past that kind of simple approach these days to a much more of a discretionary approach with risk. I don't really want to ramble about that too much, just because if I do, this stream's going to go on forever. Maybe next week we can do a risk management stream. So you have a list of the cartel coins. Pretty much these, the scalp list is mainly the cartel coins. Good morning, good morning. What's your short-term thoughts on Bitcoin? I mean, basically what I already said. Oops, wrong thing. We go back to Bitcoin. I mean, as far as short-term, so within the day, looking pretty bearish on the daily VWAP. So, like to see it continue to trade down. But I definitely already spent time on that. Do you use hard stops, or are they based on candle closes or something? I don't really use hard stops. And no, I definitely don't do things based off candle closes. That's not my style. Everything's a flow based and momentum. So order flow and momentum are how I can manage my risk. Do you use stop losses on low cap coins? No. For when I'm scalping like these $50 million market cap shit coins, I definitely don't use hard stops. I hate to give you this advice because I know there's a bunch of noobs in here, but when I'm scalping, most of the time I just martingale, honestly, until I'm right. which is a horrible advice. Do not follow that advice until you have a lot of experience, because you're going to get destroyed trying to do that. But I've been trading for a long time, so I know how to do it right. Any book recommendations on scalping? I don't think that really exists. Thoughts on Huss' thesis on BTC and SPX correlation? I don't know what his thesis is. I don't really care about other people's takes, guys. Something, as you trade more and more, you get a lot of experience under your belt. That's something that most of you guys should go through, where if you want to make it, you need to not give a shit about other people. Or at least once you have that validation through being right, through having made good decisions. Books, what year is it? If you don't mind, can you talk about screeners you're using to check volatility? Yeah, I just used the Orion screener. I don't really care about volatility. I just scan for ticks. I just want to trade whatever's high tick for scalping. Martingale on BTC, right? Or only or alts? Only on alts do I martingale. I don't martingale I don't even scalp Bitcoin. I think scalping Bitcoin is not that smart. I run intraday on Bitcoin. So for swings, guys, I'll swing trade altcoins and Bitcoin. For intraday, I just trade Bitcoin. For scalping, I just trade alts. So you think pretty much trading for scalping experience is it? Pretty much. I mean, you do need to learn from other people to develop your strategies and stuff, because you're probably not going to be able to come up with the strategies on your own at the beginning. You need a lot of experience to make your own strategies, so you want to probably steal from other people. But for me personally, VWAP and order flow, that's all I need for scalping. Thoughts on journaling and how long do you spend doing this? Yeah, so for journaling, guys, just use one of the API softwares that will automate everything for you. I don't spend that much time journaling these days. I spend as little time as possible. It depends on what style of trader you are. If you're a swing trader, then you can definitely spend more time sitting there thinking about your trades, thinking about what you did right and wrong. If you're a scalper, you need to just fucking move on to the next trade most of the time. So it kind of depends on what type of trader you are. But if you're like a scalper, for instance, you can't be spending all day and all your energy reviewing your trades and stuff, because if you do that, you're going to miss 3 or 4 trades in the time that you just spent 30 minutes doing journal review in the middle of your trade session. So I would probably say, yeah, I mean, it's pretty wise to do your review after you're done trading for the day too. That's probably going to help. No problem, MP3. Thoughts on US JPY? I don't trade FX. Too many smart people scalping BTC. I like scalping my fellow dumb people. Yeah, you like scalping alts. It's not just because of that. It's just because you're definitely PvPing against smarter people when you trade Bitcoin on lower time frame. But one of the main things that matters isn't just the who you're trading against. It's the volatility, right? Like Bitcoin volatility is basically non-existent compared to altcoins. When TRB was the hot coin over the past few weeks, it was putting in 6-7% rotations, right, on average, where Bitcoin's average rotation is 0.5% or something. Share your strat and then we can copy it. You'd be surprised, just because I don't spell it out for you. The people that have watched these streams for a long time pretty much know exactly how I trade, so you just gotta listen and connect the dots yourself. All right, let's go ahead and move on to some other coins here. Let's get into some of my sell coins. So these are coins that I did, every one of these shorts here I did cover on the stream recently. So I did short INJ. I did take a little bit of profit on it this morning when I woke up, and I'm kind of hoping that it will trade up a bit and I can add it back. But yeah, this is definitely, I mean, pretty straightforward, guys. Quarterly VWAP and HVN. This is why I shorted this. I talked about this a lot. I talked about this over several streams. And I finally got my entry recently, so I took it. Not too much to cover on it though, honestly. Pretty straightforward stuff, hopefully, for you guys. Link was another one. I covered Link on the last couple streams. I waited till it traded into my HVN. I waited till it traded into my macro composite high, and I shorted it. Pretty straightforward. I'm trying to ride this back to the midpoint, or I'm going to assess and then potentially take it all the way down to the range lows. We'll see. Did we do BLZ? Sorry, the wife came home. I'll go back to it for you. Yeah, I mean, there's not really too much to cover, man. I longed it once it came into my support region that I had marked out from last week. And the structure on it's still pretty bullish. If I'm wrong, you know, I'm not too worried about if I'm wrong. Right now, it's got me a little bit underwater, but I'm really not sweating it, to be honest. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward stuff. OP was another one that I wanted to short that I didn't take. It just didn't really come up to my area. It didn't trigger my alerts, so I just didn't take it. But this is one I was waiting for. I really preferred INJ and Link. The setups were just a little bit better. We can go over Solana next. So yeah, I kind of think Solana is probably a pretty prime short here soon. It's got a little bit of life in it right now, so I would kind of... Let me go to like 4 hour for this one. Need that to repopulate. I think that Solana is going to be a good short here soon, but I want to wait. I want to wait until I see a little bit less life in it. It seems like it's got a little bit more of a bid than some of the other shit coins, so I want to see it. I want to see it die off here soon, and start to lose its quarterly, and then I'll probably aim to short this one as well. Take it back to the yearly band, or potentially into this demand block, or into just mid-range. Somebody asked about Bitcoin Cash earlier. We'll look at this. So I had my plan to short this one. My alerts even went off and I just didn't take it. Same kind of scenario with some of the other ones, right? Quarterly VWAP HVN. This is a prime area to look for a short. So I did go ahead and ignore this one and not take the trade, but it's definitely there to take back to yearly. The risk to reward just really wasn't as good on this one, just because its downside FTA is a lot higher than something like INJ, for example, that could trade down a while lower. Or Link, for example. Link bulls are getting battered. Guys, don't forget that everybody on Twitter was longing this thing the other day. Don't forget. People were telling me I was stupid for saying I was going to short this one on my stream. Okay, I'm going to keep ignoring chat for a second and run through some more shit coins. So on the other end of the spectrum, these are some of the coins that look good. So I've been long on Ant for a while. I don't have very much of the position left. Only 20% of this trade is open still, but I'm long from $4 on this one. So my final take profit was $5.40, which we have since front run a little bit. I'm a little bit worried about how the interaction went yesterday, and I might hit the eject button on this one here soon, but I really wanted to wait for my final take profit. But it kind of ties into one of my original lessons at the beginning of the stream with the pizza guy. You know, somebody just said fuck it, and it's over. And if you hold on to your bias forever, you could end up round tripping. So I did take profit. I closed out 80% of the trade already, and I'd like to see it trade higher, but I'm not going to cling to this one too much longer, to be honest. I like Tomo. Kind of surprised. Like, Tomo's pretty strong. This, honestly, Tomo was one of my favorite coins to trade at the beginning of the year. You look at this trend structure in Q2. This thing was ridiculously orderly to trade. This one has now recently become a cartel coin, actually. So my plan was to long down here and then take it up to $1.50, which I got front run on. This has become a cartel coin recently. The DFW guy, the cartellers, they have invested in this one, and now they are pumping it. So definitely want to keep an eye on Tomo. A lot of my strong coins I got front run on recently, so I wanted to buy Maker, and it didn't really work out. I still think Maker looks good, so probably if Maker pulls back to like 1300 or maybe into the 12s, it's probably a good long down there. Same thing with Rune. If Rune can do a pullback, I think it's good for continuation. That's pretty much it for the coins that I wanted to cover. Really good idea, guys, to always keep an eye on BNB. If BNB looks like it's gonna break down, you want to hit the eject button, honestly, because on your risk, because BNB is essentially a risk barometer for the entire crypto market. So if BNB is gonna trade up, then you're probably pretty bullish. If BNB is gonna trade down, though, everything's pretty bearish, honestly. All right, let me catch up with chat. Where do you go to find funding rates? Is there a software? I mean, there's a bunch of them. I mean, anything from just a premium indicator like this premium indicator that I have, right? Because the difference between spot and perps is what that spread is what's going to create the funding. You could literally every order flow site, Coinalyze, Velo, Orion, you know, Levita is literally any website that has data metrics will have funding rates. I personally, for my trading right now, I'm using a TOS, TradingView, Orion Scanner, and Silico Terminal. I use that combo right now. And Q is literally the most superior to scalp, easy in and out multiple times per day. I mean, to each their own. I do really well scalping altcoins, so I'm going to stick with that. Thanks for the revisit, no problem. Shout out there, hit that like again just because, yeah. If you guys are in the stream and haven't pressed like on the video already, please do me a favor and click like. Crispy. What are the indicators that you're using for scalping? VWAP, open interest, RVOL, footprint, and a DOM. I'm shorting storage. What do you think? I mean, I personally don't like shorting things that are recently strong, right? This has recent strength to it. If you have a good setup for it, then good for you. I would be aggressive with taking profit on this one, though. If storage plays out for you, you want to be aggressive with taking profit, in my opinion. You look at Arbitrum. I have not been trading Arb in a while. Let's look at it. I mean, this thing looks like dog shit. It's in a pretty strong bear trend right now, so don't really have anything nice to say about this. You know, this anytime something that looks like this trades up, you want to look for shorts on it. Yeah, but there's a reason why this main trading. If you guys look at my lists over here on the right, I'll make it a little bigger for you. I have my scalps, I have my sells, I have my buys, I have my things that I want to pay attention to, and then I have my general trading list that has everything else on it, and I pretty much ignore all these things. Let's look at Gala really quickly. Gala's up 10%. For the people that were here for the pizza guy story. I can't remember if it was either 2.8 or 0.3. That was it. This is when the pizza guy showed up at my house and I made the top on Gala. Look where it's at now. And my long was like right here. There's like a monthly VWAP reclaim like right here. I'm going to keep that on this chart from now on, actually. We'll go ahead and save that. How often do you stream? I stream every Tuesday at this time. So every Tuesday during the New York session. Thanks for your tip watching BNB, no problem. Why do people view Link as a proxy for tops and bottoms? I mean, I don't really care that much about that, but I will say that if you line up Link and Bitcoin, whenever Link tops, Bitcoin goes down. So it's data based. Adam, good coin. Yeah, I'm about to bully the shit out of your coin, bro. Oop. I think Adam's a piece of shit. It doesn't matter if it has good tech or not. This thing's a piece of garbage. This is a blue ball coin. Look at its yearly trend. It's below its yearly open by a lot. It's over 20% below its yearly open. Every VWAP is bearish. I'm sorry. Adam might have good tech, but it doesn't matter. Like, from a trading standpoint, this thing's a piece of garbage. What do you think about high stakes? Mentioning taking less trades. I don't respect that guy at all. I think he's a moron. No, but we should all never forget that when FTX was going down, that was the guy that said, "While you guys are panicking, I'm depositing millions to go long." He said that right here. And then we did this. So not only was his long thesis dead wrong, he told his followers to go and deposit money onto FTX and give it to Sam. As somebody who lost a fat stack on FTX, I lost a lot of money on FTX. It's one of my biggest losses in my trading career, actually. So no, I don't care if that guy's made good trades in the past or anything like that. I'll never respect him after that moment. And I don't even like talking like that about other people, but that was bad. Join late. Did you do WorldCoin already? I did, but we can go back to it really quickly. TLDR on WorldCoin is it's probably going to continue to trend up. I think it can maybe trade down towards like the $1.50 region in the overlapping quarterly, or excuse me, overlapping anchored VWAPs. I think it probably is good for a bounce. I think WorldCoin will probably see trend continuation. Share, you need a indicator that shares, or a bot that shares indicators when people ask. You're not wrong. How much are you risking per trade percentage? I don't believe in approaches like that, bro. When you're learning and stuff, go for it. You know, you can be I risk 1%, I risk 2%. When you get experienced and you've been trading for a long time, you need to move away from that approach for sure. I don't believe in that stuff. Much, you know, I used to run a strategy for like many years where it was based off how many checkpoints were met on my system. I would, you know, so if I have 5 out of 5 check marks, that's full size. If I have 4 out of 5, it would be this size. Now I just pretty much run full discretion on position sizing, but I've been doing this for a long time. I think this is a lesson that I've said a lot in the past. You want to be more systematic when you're learning, which will give you a good backbone for how to approach things when you actually have lots of experience. So be systematic, and then as you gain experience, become more and more discretionary. Otherwise, you might as well just go be an algo and not trade at all. Can you look at... What the fuck is that? NMR? Okay. Sheesh. What the fuck is this? What is this, guy? I've never heard of this coin before. I mean, there's nothing nice to say about something that looks like this. This is a fucking scam coin. You know, I have specific frameworks. I want clear trends, right? For things that I want to trade. This has nothing appealing to me. I can't even say if I think it'll go up or down. The obvious answer is that it's probably going to go down, but I don't actually know. I can't really give any advice for a coin that looks like this. Hello, Magus. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being concerned. I'm doing just fine. Hope you are as well. Quick question on VWAP. How effective are previous VWAPs? For example, previous weeks and last months. They can be pretty effective. It's not really I don't really lean into previous all that much. But one of my students that is now just like a legend in the Paragon group, Nas, he uses previous a lot. It's not really my style to use previous that much, but they definitely have their use cases. I would say test it out for yourself. I mainly, for previous, I mainly use the higher time frame, right? So previous yearly, previous quarterly, previous monthly, I'll care about. I don't really tend to care about previous weekly or daily all that much. But again, my guy Nas uses them and it works really well for him. One question on VWAP to use anchored, I do. Yeah, so look, when we're on WorldCoin, these blue lines are anchored. Those are anchored VWAPs. I do, yeah. I use time-based and I use anchored. I don't use rolling. Did you already cover TRB? I did. In short, I think that TRB is probably needs to pull back a lot into the into like $40, potentially all the way down to like 35, and then it will probably do trend resuming, right? So trend back to here, chop it up, and then go up again. Something like that. So you find coins to scalp by finding them on Orion with the highest tick by 5 minutes. It is more nuanced than that, but yeah, pretty much. Just says a lot of trades are going on and more liquidity, etc. Yep. I want to see. It's simple, guys. Where's everybody clicking buttons? Wherever everybody's collectively clicking buttons is where I want to be, because I want to go and PvP people on the perps, right? That's how I view it. To be clear, though, it's not just because there's a spike on the 5-minute ticks doesn't mean that it's good, right? You want to see consecutive ticks over time, over a large period of time. Magus, please. You've been banned is your name. Nice. Magus, please let the audience know how you're able to keep being such a Chad. Damn, dude. I'm not a Chad. I'm just a regular dude. That's how you have a chance, guys. You gotta be humble. You guys are always gassing me up, though. Thank you. You think Ape is a decent short? Let's look. God damn, this thing got beat the fuck down. I mean, technically, it's a good short in the sense that if it trades up, it's good for shorting. But things that are super beaten down like this, like this is a low liquidity coin, guys. I have zero interest in trading something like this. When they're beat down and they're just like, sure, this thing will probably continue to trend down, almost for sure. But I have zero interest in trading something that looks like this. I'm not even gonna lie, because you might get a perfect setup where you find a good short and you enter, and then it's so low liquidity that one person pukes a big short and you're back at your entry. So I don't like trading in liquid things like this. It's already beat down so much. I mean, look at this thing. Since it listed, it's just down only. So yeah, you're trend following if you short this thing, but there's no activity on Ape, so I'll steer clear of it personally. Oh, Bake, not Ape. The fuck is Bake? A little torn on this one. For higher time frame, it's definitely in a pretty strong downtrend, but it's in a local uptrend right now, so I'd be a little bit more careful about shorting this one. Does this thing actually do volume? It's in a local uptrend. I would be very careful about shorting this one, to be honest, unless you have a good setup. When we start selling autographed Blepes. Lear, you know what to do. How about Soul? I already did Soul, but we'll go back to it, 'cause I'm feeling generous. It's in a pretty decent uptrend right now, so like locally, so I would be careful, but I do want to short this one soon. So I have no active position on it. What's happening with the corn? We're bouncing a bit, just a little bit. I want to short this one, but I'm waiting for it to give me a proper setup to do it. I don't like shorting into things that are going up without a setup. Thanks for the answer. Do you check standard deviations with deviation bands or something like that? Any thoughts? Yeah, I mean, that's what you guys see on these charts, right? All these bands, these are all standard deviation from VWAP. Standard deviation bands are effective for trend following or for mean reversion, either or, honestly. Basic logic is if your VWAP is flat, you want to use your standard deviation bands to mean revert. If your VWAP is sloped, you want to use your standard deviation bands for continuation. Either long off standard deviation high or long off standard deviation low. That's too good of an explanation. For that being a 30-second explanation, that's too good, honestly. You're welcome. Thanks, Walt. Is it possible to scalp like Loma, just pure price action? Obviously it is if he does it. I'm not gonna lie though, I've never seen Loma scalp, so I don't really know, but I do like Loma. Seems like a good dude for sure. But it's, you know, to each their own. To each their own. Everyone's got to figure out how to do it on their own. You can learn from other people, but at the end of the day, you got to click your own buttons. Scalping off pure price action for me is not going to work. I need to be doing order flow and VWAP, and then it works really well. Which, quick little plug, if you want to actually learn how to properly scalp like I'm talking about, instead of just hearing generalized statements from me, you got to learn, you got to join the group. Join the Paragon group, and that's how you learn, because I have a stupid amount of videos explaining it, and I always cover stuff after the fact. What's your trigger for a system like? That's like not really an easy question for me to answer because I run multiple different systems, but the only thing, I'll leak one thing here. I'm not going to explain a bunch of stuff. The main thing would be seeing people get forced out of position, right? When you see people get stopped out, that's generally a good reason for me to want to enter. On the VWAPs. You watch your edge erode, Walt. It's over for you. Nah, it doesn't matter if you teach people about the VWAP stuff. First of all, the VWAP stuff's never going to stop working. And second of all, just because I tell people how I do something doesn't mean that they can do it. There's a big difference between being able to understand something and being able to do it. Chart FET. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here pretty soon with the shitcoin charts. I hate looking at a lot of these things. That looks like dog shit, you know. This thing is gonna keep going down probably. I don't really. It's pretty in the middle, you know. When it something looks like this, like I just have zero interest in trading it, right? I'm very particular about what I want to trade. This has no real reason for me to want to trade it. I either want to trade, when I trade things, I either want to trade things that have high participation, so there's lots of people trading them, or I want to look for something that has a very clear trend, and ideally both. So something like this that I know FET, if I go and look at the volume, nobody's trading FET and it has no clear trend, so I don't want to trade it. It's that simple. So if you hold this thing, best of luck. Hurry up, Lear. I love you, but I need your copy and want to sell it. Sell it on eBay? You're not allowed to sell any blepes on eBay. You're going to get hit with the blepe legal team that's going to come after you, Crispy. Going to cook you. Damn, couldn't find anyone that explains it that simple, thanks. No problem, dude. That's what we're here for. Guys, when you listen to other people talk about stuff, one of the main things that bothers me is that people, they over-explain things and they make things too wordy and they use too much jargon and all that stuff. I don't know if Einstein actually was the one that made this quote, but he's the one that gets attributed for it. If you can't explain something simple so that a child can understand what you're saying, then you don't understand it yourself. People that understand things can explain them in a simple way so that anybody can understand. I could go and talk to somebody that has never traded before and in 1 minute explain to them how I trade, and they're going to understand what I'm saying. They're not going to be able to do it, but they're going to understand what I'm saying. And that's a key thing that differentiates people that actually understand what they're talking about versus people that don't. It's all about simplicity. Take complex ideas and understand them in a simplistic way, and then you're going to outperform other people. Best place to learn about VWAP? Me, obviously. I have a VWAP video on YouTube that you can check out. It's like 10 minutes long. It's going to explain all the basics of how I use VWAP, and if you want to get more intricate with it and learn more detail, join the Paragon group. No edge anyway. Don't beat yourself up, Walt. So you're looking for people to get wrecked in liquidations for the trigger on entry. I don't really care about liquidations, but yeah, I want to see people get stopped out. What's your average time in a scalp? Probably like 4 or 5 minutes. Some of them end up turning into intraday though, where you have to sit in the trade for a bit longer. But that's normally when I fuck up. But when you're scalping, quick little lesson on that. When you're scalping, you should be talking about seconds or minutes, right? If you're in a scalp, quote unquote, for 4 hours, you're not scalping. It's a really key thing. Way too often on Twitter, you see people talk about scalping when they're talking about day trading. You just get the two terms mixed up. It is somewhat discretionary how you define them. So there's no real right and wrong answer with how you define things, but if you're in a scalp for 4 hours, it's not a scalp. I can say that for sure. Lear is definitely getting a 69% cut. You are correct. Check out the link in my bio. Either that, or you can. I'll link my Twitter as well. Check out my Twitter if you want to see more detail about the Paragon group. It's in my bio. Do you have a specific holding time for scalp position? No, not really. I mean, I aimed for them to be short, but at the same time, you know, every trade's a little bit different. If a scalp goes really well for me, we're talking about a couple of minutes, maybe a minute or two to get in, a minute or two for it to play out, a minute or two to exit. But sometimes my scalps end up turning into intraday trades where I hold them for 30 minutes or an hour occasionally. Bro is scalping for 1 to 4 hours, shaking my head. What up, Doc? Guy came into my Discord the other day going, what do you think about this scalp, and listed 9 take profits for 35% move. Yeah, it's crazy how people just have like a completely backward idea. There's somebody that I see on Twitter all the time that posts a 12-hour chart and then talks about how he's scalping, and he'll be doing the same thing as you just said. This guy has like 80,000 followers, and he'll be on the 12-hour chart and then say, I'm scalping this shitcoin, you know, whatever, altcoin, you know, for a 40% move and a 10% stop loss. And it's like, bro, that's a swing trade, bro. Do you, David Hale, or you probably mean, do you know David Hale, your first trading, finding glitches? No idea who that is. I mean, that sounds to me like dude just took the concept of inefficiency that everybody else talks about and put a different name on it. But to each their own. Alright guys, we're going to wrap it up here in a second. I've been live for an hour and 42 minutes, so I need to hop off and get some work done today. But hopefully everybody learned something. Hopefully we got a little bit of insight. Hopefully we're going to make less mistakes. Or, you know, hopefully we just gain something in general. Cheers to all the new guys. Last time I'll say it today. If you didn't already, do me a favor and press like on the stream. Obviously subscribe if you didn't. I put out at least a video or two per week. Just got the end rip. Well, luckily for you, my friend, you can always just watch the VOD back, which I would obviously suggest you do, because we definitely covered some good stuff today. Thanks for the stream. No problem. Thanks, bro. No problem. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a good day. You as well, my friend. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for me. Have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you next Tuesday.